Listen closely, because this is not just another message. This is a divine interruption, a holy moment, a spiritual appointment written before time began. You're not here by accident. You didn't stumble across this by chance. You were led here, summoned even, by a voice higher than your own, because something in your spirit knows everything is about to shift. Not in a year, not in a month, but in 3 days. And God said, when it happens, nothing will look the same again. You've been walking through something that words can barely describe. This isn't just tiredness, this is soul exhaustion. You've been misunderstood, overlooked, betrayed, targeted, and still, somehow, you've kept going. That's not by your own strength, that's divine endurance. That's the mark of someone who's been chosen. And make no mistake, you are chosen. That's why the warfare's been so intense. That's why the nights have felt longer than they should. That's why your prayers have sometimes turned into groans. Heaven has been watching. The throne has been silent, not because God abandoned you, but because he was preparing a shift so massive, so irreversible that even your enemies will be silenced by it. And now the countdown has begun. 3 days, just 3, and then everything turns. You've been feeling it, haven't you? The pressure, the internal shaking, the strange pull on your emotions, the way people look at you like they sense something different, but they can't quite name it. That's because something ancient is rising in you, something sacred. You've carried a dormant promise, a locked scroll in your spirit that is now being unsealed. Every tear you've cried, every door that slammed in your face, every friend who ghosted you when you needed them most, all of it has led here, the divine shift. But before the shift comes, there's the stirring, and it's uncomfortable. It feels like everything is pressing in, like you're being pulled in 2 directions, the old and the new. Like you're standing in a hallway with 100 closed doors and no key. But hear this. God is not teasing you. He's testing what you're willing to let go of, so he can show you what you're about to step into. In 3 days, that invisible gate you've been standing at will open. And this isn't just about breakthrough. This is about becoming. The becoming of the real you, the version of you they tried to bury under labels, rejection, and religious shame. The version that trauma tried to destroy. The version that God has been hiding until the appointed time, and that time is now. You've had to walk through fire, not because you were cursed, but because the fire is where God forges his fiercest warriors. You see, you're not just chosen, you're preserved. That's why it didn't kill you. That's why you didn't lose your mind, even though you felt like you were unraveling. That's why betrayal didn't break you. The oil on your life is expensive. It came with crushing. It came with isolation. It came with moments when you doubted everything, even your calling. But deep in your spirit, you never stopped knowing you were born for something more. People have seen glimpses of you, the kind, the gifted, the humble, but they haven't seen the glory that's about to break out. And for some of you watching, the last 3 days have already felt strange, heavy, spiritually pregnant. That's because you're walking under a prophetic timeline. God has marked this window in time. It's sacred. And in 3 days, you'll understand why the warfare increased before the release. Let me talk to your soul for a moment. Not your job, not your titles, not your role in anyone's story. Just you, raw and real. You have been feeling like you're standing on the edge of something. Like the atmosphere around you is trying to speak, but the words haven't formed yet. That's not confusion, that's divine timing. You're in spiritual labor. You are carrying something that was never meant to blend in. You've been set apart, and that separation hasn't always felt like favor. Sometimes it's felt like punishment, but it wasn't. It was preservation. Because if you had gotten what you thought you wanted back then, it would have stolen what God was trying to build in you now. You would have settled. You would have bowed to people who only celebrated your survival, not your success. So God let it fall apart. He let them leave. He let the business fail. He let the silence stretch out longer than your comfort zone. not to destroy you, but to rebuild you with heavenly blueprints. Now here you are after everything, still standing, still seeking, still hungry for truth. That hunger is what's awakening the shift. It's not just prayer that moves heaven, it's alignment. And your spirit is finally aligned with your purpose. That's why God said 3 days. Because what's coming requires you to remember who you are. You're not just someone trying to survive. You are a spiritual portal, a living prophecy, an answered prayer walking in the flesh. You are dangerous to darkness, even when you're doubting. That's why they tried to silence you. That's why they mocked you when you began to change. That's why old habits tried to creep back in just when you started healing. The enemy knows you're close, so close. And now, God has spoken. 3 days. Heaven's response is on the way. Don't shrink. Don't second guess what you've been feeling. Don't run back to comfort just because the new looks unfamiliar. You didn't come this far to collapse now. You're birthing something holy. And in 3 days, you'll start to see the evidence. The shift will touch everything. Your atmosphere, your mind, your relationships, your finances, your health. The old cycles will break. The fog will lift. The instructions will come. This is sacred ground, and your feet have been placed on it by divine design. Take this as confirmation. The voices of doubt, silence them. The noise of delay, ignore it. The distractions, release them. You are chosen, you are called, and your moment is unfolding. Even now, stay close, stay aware, something holy is moving, and when it touches your life, everything will shift. They lied to you, they lied to you, they lied to you. They smiled in your face while secretly praying for your fall. They touched your hand while speaking curses behind your back. They nodded in support, but in the secret rooms, their whispers were knives, slicing through your reputation, mocking your name, trying to pull you down from a place they could never climb. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a spiritual assassination attempt. They weren't just trying to stop you, they were trying to erase you. But what they didn't know is that heaven was watching the whole time. You didn't cry those tears in vain. You didn't walk through those shadows alone. You didn't survive all that heartbreak just to be discarded. No, God was silent because he was setting the stage. Psalm 23:5 says, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies." And beloved, that table is almost ready. The silverware is being laid. The light is being adjusted. The wine is being poured. You were never forsaken. You were being set up for divine display. Because when the shift comes, it won't come quietly. It won't be in secret. It will be in front of every single person who doubted you, betrayed you, played you, underestimated you. The same ones who watched you suffer in silence will witness the oil that falls on your life. You didn't ask for revenge. You didn't wish them harm. You just kept walking. Wounded, yes, but walking. And now God says, enough. The vindication begins in 3 days. But the waiting has been brutal, hasn't it? That silence felt like punishment. That loneliness felt like exile. You started to question everything, your worth, your calling, your sanity. Nights of overthinking, days of pretending you were okay. You kept showing up for everyone while no one noticed you were bleeding inside. You laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if you would ever feel alive again. And still, somehow, you held on. Not because you had it all figured out, but because your spirit knew something bigger is coming. It's hard to explain to people what you've been going through because it hasn't just been emotional. It's been spiritual. There's been a war in the unseen realm for your destiny. The enemy saw what was on your life before you did. That's why the attacks came early. That's why the rejection started when you were still young. That's why the enemy sent people to wound you when you were most open, most trusting. But even then, something in you wouldn't die. Even when you felt like you were drowning, your soul kept whispering, "There's more." And that whisper is getting louder now. The veil is thinning. You can feel it in your bones. Something sacred is rising. The wind is changing direction. The atmosphere around you has shifted from resistance to release. You've been stretched, shaken, stripped, but now God is about to show. Oh, do you feel it? The divine reversal. The moment where the stone they rejected becomes the cornerstone. The moment when every insult turns into an invitation to the table. It's happening. And not in some distant dream. In 3 days, heaven's calendar is moving. You see, when you're chosen, you don't get to walk easy roads. You get the storms, the prisons, the betrayals, just like Joseph, just like David, just like Jesus. But you also get the promotion. You get the elevation. You get the favor that no man can deny. What they tried to sabotage, God is sanctifying. What they tried to shut down, God is spotlighting. And you're stepping into the moment you were born for. They thought they had you figured out. They thought you were weak, unstable, finished. But they didn't see what God was doing in the dark. They didn't know about the late-night cries that were actually deep intercessions. They didn't know about the spiritual agreements you made with heaven. They didn't know the anointing was growing while they were gossiping. Now the tables are turning. Now the judgment of God is being revealed, not to destroy them, but to exalt you. And make no mistake, this exaltation won't look like ego. It will look like glory. It will look like peace they can't touch, joy they can't steal, success they can't explain. You're not rising to gloat. You're rising to shine. You're not rising to prove anything to them. You're rising to fulfill what God spoke over you before they ever formed an opinion. There's a heaviness in the spirit right now. Not of despair, but of awakening. Something is unfolding, something unstoppable. The hand of God is moving in quiet places, rearranging things, preparing people to favor you, setting up conversations and connections you didn't ask for. And in 3 days, that door you've been praying for will creak open. You may not recognize it at first. It might not look like the miracle you pictured, but it will feel right in your spirit. You'll feel peace flood your chest. You'll feel the weight lift. You'll feel confirmation that everything you suffered wasn't wasted. Because now, even your scars are part of the prophecy. Even your tears are part of the testimony. And the same ones who mocked you, they'll marvel. God is not petty, but He is just. He is righteous. And when He says, "Touch not my anointed, do my prophets no harm," He means it. They may have thought they were getting away with it, but heaven never sleeps. And now your season of hiding is over. Your exile is ending. Your crown is coming out of storage. They tried to bury you, but God was planting you. They tried to block you, but God was building you. And now, like a hidden seed that's broken through the soil, you're about to be seen. Don't doubt this moment. Don't talk yourself out of what's coming. You have no idea how many angels have been assigned to this timeline. You have no clue the conversations happening in rooms you haven't even entered yet. But you will. Soon. 3 days. That's all. Let them talk. Let them scoff. Let them assume. Because when the shift happens, your fruit will speak. Your peace will speak. Your posture will speak. And the Spirit of God in you will roar. They thought you were done, but they miscalculated. You've been forged in the fire, strengthened in silence, sanctified by solitude. And now you're about to rise. Stay in position. Stay aligned. The shift has already begun. And now the atmosphere shifts. Do you feel it? The way your skin tingles when you hear these words, like something ancient is waking up inside you. That's not imagination. That's recognition. Your spirit is remembering what your soul tried to forget. You are not ordinary. You were never meant to blend in. You are a threat to the systems of darkness because your very presence carries light. And now, in this sacred window of time, something is about to emerge from within you that even you haven't fully seen before. This is the turning point. The silence is cracking. The clouds are parting. The chains are loosening. You, the one who's been walking quietly through the fire, are about to rise with eyes that carry fire. The people who once overlooked you will be stunned. Not because you changed, but because they finally see what God had hidden. The shift isn't making you someone new. It's revealing who you've always been, beneath the pain, beneath the pressure, beneath the performance. You are no longer the broken one. You are no longer the silent sufferer. You are no longer the misunderstood soul hiding in the corner of your own life. You are rising now, not in ego, but in glory. The kind of glory that is forged from pain and purified in prayer. The kind of glory that doesn't shout, but radiates. They won't be able to explain it. They'll feel it before they see it. Your energy is shifting. Your voice is deepening. Your presence is no longer asking for permission. It's commanding space. And those who once doubted you, they'll be speechless because they underestimated what you carried. They couldn't see past your wilderness, your weariness, your wounds. But God saw. Heaven recorded it all. Every time you cried yourself to sleep but still chose to love the next day. Every time you gave when you had nothing left. Every time you prayed when all you had was silence. That's what shaped you. That's what built the anointing. You weren't just surviving all that time, you were training. That pain didn't destroy you, it disciplined you. It gave you wisdom that can't be bought, vision that can't be taught, and a spirit that can't be broken. Your enemies thought the warfare would crush you, but it only refined you. What they called weakness was actually warriorhood. You became a weapon of light without even realizing it. And now they're about to find out. You were never the victim. You were the rising storm. Picture it. A phoenix, ashes still clinging to its wings, lifting off not with perfection, but with power. That's you. Rising, not in spite of the fire, because of it. You're not stepping out scar-free. You're stepping out scarred and sacred, because your scars aren't shameful. They're proof that hell tried and failed. They're evidence that you endured what others didn't survive. They're holy tattoos of divine survival. And now you walk different. Not in arrogance, but in awareness. You've learned what to touch and what to release. You've learned who you are and who you're not. You've learned that silence is sometimes louder than speaking, and that peace is the most powerful form of revenge. You've walked through storms that gave you armor no one else can see. And now God is saying, it's time for the unveiling. Isaiah 61:7 says, instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion, and everlasting joy will be yours. That's not a metaphor, that's your prophetic inheritance. You've paid the price in silence. Now God is shifting the atmosphere to make space for your voice, your gift, your presence. He's not elevating you for attention. He's elevating you because your season of hiding is over. You'll notice people start to respond to you differently. You'll feel things breaking open around you. Doors that were once sealed will begin to swing with ease, not because you forced them, but because the time has come. You won't have to chase anything. You are being drawn into alignment with the promises that were written over your life before you were born. And no, not everyone will like it. Some people will distance themselves. Some will pretend they don't see your growth. Some will try to pull you back into the version of you that made them comfortable. But don't shrink. Don't explain, don't dim, you're not the same. The shift didn't just change your path, it changed your posture. You walk like someone who's seen God in the fire. You speak like someone who's heard heaven whisper in the dark. You've crossed a threshold. You can't unknow what you now know. You can't unsee what's been revealed. And even if your body hasn't caught up yet, your spirit is already standing in the new. That's why your environment feels tight. That's why the old habits make you feel sick. That's why people you once adored now feel like strangers. You're not bitter. You've just grown. And that growth is the evidence of the shift. This is the point where most people turn back. Right at the edge of breakthrough, when the pressure feels unbearable, but not you. You didn't come this far to retreat. You've been forged for this. Molded in silence, trained in tears. You are ready, even if you don't feel like it. You are equipped, even if you still question it. And now heaven is echoing through time and space, Prepare 3 days. The shift is closer than it seems. Stay here because in the next breath, something sacred will be revealed. You were never under attack because you were weak. You were under attack because you're spiritually dangerous. The enemy doesn't waste energy on the average. He targets those with heaven-wrapped assignments. And you, chosen one, carry a light that can't be copied, a sound that can't be silenced, and a calling that has survived the worst of storms. It wasn't your failure that attracted the fire. It was your future. There's a reason the warfare intensified before the shift. It's not random. It's divine mathematics. When heaven gets ready to promote you, hell gets louder, but not because it has authority. It shouts to distract, not to destroy. The truth is, most of the spiritual battles you've faced weren't meant to stop you. They were meant to test what you've become. You didn't realize it at the time, but every attack was a backhanded confirmation. You're aligned, you're rising, you're close. So let's go deeper. Why have you been fought so hard? Why has life felt like a series of trials disguised as moments? Because there is something about you, your voice, your faith, your integrity, that shakes realms. You don't just pray. You pierce through dimensions when you pray. You don't just dream. Your dreams reveal. You're not just intuitive, you're prophetic. You've been walking in spiritual authority long before you had language for it. Some of you have wondered, why me? Why did they leave? Why did they betray me? Why does it feel like every time I heal, something else breaks? Because you're not being punished. You're being positioned. God was removing the ones who couldn't go with you. He was closing doors that would have suffocated the anointing. You thought it was rejection, but it was divine redirection. You see, spiritual elevation often comes through isolation. Look at Joseph, thrown in a pit by his own brothers. Look at David, hunted by Saul after being anointed king. Look at Jesus, betrayed with a kiss. All chosen, all misunderstood, all isolated before they were revealed. You are walking the same road. That's not coincidence. That's prophetic alignment. And now the scales are falling off your eyes. You're starting to see that what felt like delay was actually divine disguise. God was hiding you in plain sight, protecting you from premature exposure, preparing your spirit for the weight of what's coming. Because let me tell you something, what's ahead of you is heavy with glory. And God doesn't release weighty blessings to unready hands. The reason it hurts so deep is because your spirit is sensitive. Not weak, sensitive. You feel things others miss. You carry burdens without recognition. You intercede without being asked. That's why you burn out in crowds. That's why your spirit can't fake smiles anymore. That's why you've grown more selective with your peace, because you're not just existing in this world, you're moving it. Your very presence shifts rooms. Your alignment convicts. Your voice carries echoes of heaven. And yes, that kind of light draws darkness. It's spiritual law. The brighter the flame, the more shadows come alive. But listen to me. They only attack what threatens them. Your light is not just illumination, it's confrontation. It triggers what's hidden in others. That's why people have tried to dim you. They didn't hate you. They hated what your light exposed in them. But don't stop shining. Don't water yourself down for comfort. Don't apologize for being intense. Intensity is required when you're born to ignite. God is not just raising you, He's revealing you. And those who tried to curse your name will watch as He establishes it. Your character wasn't built in spotlight, it was built in suffering. You've been anointed in obscurity, trained in trials, refined in rejection. The ones who counted you out didn't know they were pushing you deeper into purpose. Every no was fuel. Every betrayal was a chisel. Every delay was a download. And now the heavens are roaring. It's time. Let this sink in. You are the answer to prayers someone else hasn't prayed yet. You are the fulfillment of promises that predate your birth. And your pain was the soil that cultivated prophetic clarity. Don't despise your scars. They are your credentials. They prove you've walked through what others avoided. And now every scar is being repurposed into strategy. The places where you bled will become places where others break through. God didn't bring you this far just to comfort you. He brought you this far to commission you. You have a divine assignment. That's why you don't fit in. That's why normal never satisfies. That's why your spirit craves more. You were never meant to live in shallow water. You were called to the deep, and in the deep, everything changes. So yes, there's been pain. Yes, there's been loss. But now there's clarity. God is not cruel. He is calculated. He allowed the fire to prove what would burn off and what would remain. And what remained is holy. What remained is strong. What remained is you, purified, precise, powerful. And now you walk in new authority. You walk with heaven's backing. You walk with the weight of destiny in your steps. This isn't just personal breakthrough. This is prophetic fulfillment. God is reclaiming territory through you. He's using your voice to heal wounds in others. He's using your story as a map for those still wandering. You're not just a survivor. You are a standard. They messed with the wrong one. They underestimated the quiet one. They thought the season of delay would break you, but it built you. And now every moment of obedience, every whispered prayer, every time you stayed faithful when you had every reason to walk away, it's being counted. You're about to be rewarded in front of the same systems that tried to erase you. God is elevating you now. Can you feel it? The release in the spirit, the loosening of what once held you down. The pressure is turning into power. The confusion is giving way to clarity. The pain is being recycled into purpose. You're being unveiled. You're being commissioned. You're being called forward. This is not the end. This is the ignition. In just a few days, what felt like a long night will shift into revelation. God said 3 days, and he wasn't speaking casually. This is the kind of timeline that shifts bloodlines, that rewrites narratives, that fulfills generations. You're not just rising for you, you're rising for those attached to your assignment. Everything is aligning, everything is unfolding, everything is about to shift. Listen, God is not playing this time. This isn't one of those moments where you wonder, question, or delay. This is the divine moment where heaven makes its move, and if you're aligned, everything changes. Not just a little, not just a breakthrough here or there, but everything. The shift is total. The elevation is irreversible. The calling, it's being activated in a way that you can no longer hide from. God is done letting you blend in. He's finished letting others define your timeline. The next level is not optional. It's here. Chosen one, this is the moment you've cried for, fasted for, stayed up all night interceding for. You didn't even have the words at times, only groans, tears, and a desperate hunger to be free. And now God is saying, you've passed the test, the wait is over, the shift is underway. This is why you couldn't die in that storm. This is why your mind didn't break when you felt like you were losing everything. This is why you kept sensing something was coming, even when the evidence said otherwise. God was training you, breaking the shell around your soul, stretching your heart so it could hold more than you ever imagined. And now, after all the pain, the loneliness, the warfare, you're stepping into the release. But hear this clearly. Don't delay your obedience. When God says 3 days, he doesn't mean 3 months, 3 years, or someday when you feel ready. The moment is now. The windows are open. The anointing is flowing. The clarity is coming fast. If you hesitate, you may miss the open door and find yourself staring at it after it's shut. Obey quickly. Move when the Spirit nudges you. Act in faith, not fear. This is your exodus. You are not who you used to be. And that means you can't operate the same way anymore. You can't walk with the same people. You can't tolerate the same patterns. You can't keep negotiating with distractions. What's coming to you requires full alignment. Your heart, your mind, your spirit. No more halfway healing. No more pretending to be okay when your soul is screaming. It's time to rise, healed and whole, with eyes blazing and purpose sharp. And to those who still doubt that this shift is real, Look around you. The signs are everywhere. The atmosphere has changed. Your discernment is sharper. People are revealing their true faces. Opportunities are either flowing or being blocked, not at random, but by divine hands. You've been feeling the urgency in your bones, the sense that something ancient and sacred is breaking open. That's because it is. It's not hype, it's heavens. You are stepping into days where what took years will happen in moments. God is collapsing time, accelerating destiny, restoring what you thought was lost. You'll look up and won't even recognize your life. Not because it got easier, but because it got aligned. And when people ask how you made it through, how you went from forgotten to favored, you'll say, it was God, only God. This is the power of obedience. This is the reward of remaining faithful when no one was watching. And now everyone will see what God was doing in secret. They will witness the crown. They will witness the shift. But more than that, you will feel it. A peace you haven't known in years. A strength rising from your belly. A holy confidence that shakes off shame like dust. You are leveling up, and there is no going back. This next version of you walks with God's fire. This next version of you speaks, and the atmosphere listens. This next version of you doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't apologize for the calling. You are who God says you are, and no voice, no storm, no delay can cancel what heaven has already decreed. So lift your head, breathe deep. You are not behind, you are not late, you are right on time. The shift is here, 3 days, and your life, your path, your presence, all of it will never be the same again. Say this aloud if it resonates with your spirit. I receive the shift. I stand in alignment. I declare that what God said about me will come to pass. No delay, no doubt, no demon can stop what's already been written in heaven. I was born for this moment. And now I invite you. Comment below if your spirit has been stirred. Let it be your public declaration of alignment. Share this video with someone you know is on the edge of their breakthrough. Someone God is also shifting in this hour. Pray over the next 3 days like you've never prayed before. Worship like it's already done. Walk as though the door is open, because it is. God is still moving, and you, yes, you are the proof. Your time has come. The shift is here. Heaven is speaking, and nothing will ever be the same again.